In this video, we will look at given a quantitative variable, how can we creating the histogram? Okay, so because eventually we want to answer the question, what is a page view distribution like? And their skewness, right, left, or symmetric. So we have to creating histogram. So that is a graphical display of your quantitative data. So in order to creating histogram, you have to have your frequency distribution ready. So if you don't know how to create the frequency distribution, make sure you watch the previous video called how to creating frequency distribution for quantitative data. Okay, so after we're creating the frequency distribution, so it make life easier to creating histogram. So what we need to do is selecting the A and B column you can see on the screen. So one thing keep in mind is that please do not including grand total, because you do not want a chart including grand total as a bar, right? So if you do so, you will lose point. So make sure do not include the grand total. So I including column A and B and didn't including grand total. And I will go to insert. And then we are going to do is we are still use the 2D column chart. And some students say, I want to use the histogram here. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that well here. So make sure you're using the column chart. Okay, so after you did a column chart, like what you did for the bar chart, so the problem here is that for the histogram, since it's for quantitative data, there is no gap between the bars. You can see we have big gap between bars. So one thing we need to do is we need to close those bars. So what you need to do is choose one of the bar, left double click your mouse. So after you do so, on the right hand side, you will be able to see format data point. So on the bottom, called the gap width. So the gap width currently is 219%. That's why you see a big gap. So what we need to do is we are changing this value to 0. So once I make that change and I push enter, so for my bars, all the gap disappear. So this is the histogram. So keep in mind the histogram is very different from bar chart. The main big difference is there's no gap between bars. So this is histogram. So now if you look at the skewness of this distribution, the tails, this is our tail towards in the right. So therefore we have the right skewed distribution, or skew to the right. So that means we have majority of the value are located as the less than 6 pages. So that's less than 6 pages. So now if you go back to look at this question, what is the page view distribution like? So that will be skewed to the right. And so that is the answer for question number 2. And also, as I demonstrating here, when you try to summarize, use visualization to summarize visualization for the quantitative variable, you can use either frequency distribution or histogram.